Humans have come a long way. Our tenacity has allowed us to walk among the stars, and our ingenuity has allowed us to travel faster than sound. But at the same time, we can't forget our past achievements. The 7 wonders of the world serve as a testament and a monument to withstand time and leave a civilization's imagination and legacy to be seen by all. However, they are also a timeless glimpse at the human ability for disagreement and destruction. Since the list's inception in 225 BCE by Philo of Byzantium, there have been many other lists created and strong debate as to what landmarks should be included in the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Ultimately, time and man have destroyed all but one of the monuments. Philo didn't refer to them as wonders, but called them themata, which is Greek for things to be seen or must-sees. New lists are being created all the time, but these are the original 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Great Pyramid of Giza is located on the west bank of the Nile River north of Cairo. This is the only structure on the list that still stands intact today. There are 3 pyramids named Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure, which were built between 2700 BC and 2500 BC as royal tombs. Khufu is the largest, covering more than 13 acres of land, and is believed to contain more than 2 million stone bricks, weighing from between 2 and 30 tons each. At 146.5 meters, the pyramid was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and the only one to have survived the wrath of time. Or, as an Arab proverb goes, man fears time, but time fears the pyramids. Excavations of the interior of the pyramid were only initiated in the earnest of the late 18th and 19th century CE, and so the intricacies of the interior, which so intrigued modern people, were unknown to the ancient writers. It was the structure itself, with its perfect symmetry and imposing height, which impressed ancient visitors. The most mysterious of the ancient wonders, the Gardens of Babylon, are even doubted to have existed. According to ancient Greek poets, the gardens were located near the Euphrates River in modern-day Iraq. It was commissioned by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II in 600 BC to alleviate his wife of her homesickness. She missed the beauty of her homeland Media, which was in modern-day Iran, and so the king had a picturesque garden built. Ancient writer Diodorus Siculus described them as being self-watering plains of exotic flora and fauna reaching a height of over 23 meters through a series of climbing terraces. The controversy over their existence arises because there is no mention in history, and Herodotus, the father of history, fails to mention them in his description of Babylon. However, he has been proven wrong before, and fails to mention other places of ancient Babylon as well. There are other accounts in both Greek and Roman literature of the mystical gardens, but none firsthand. As a result, most modern historians doubt its existence, or at least this version of the garden. The gardens were destroyed in an earthquake sometime after the 1st century. The statue of Zeus at Olympia was made by the Greek sculptor Phidias in the mid-5th century BCE. He was known as the finest sculptor in the ancient world. He depicted Zeus sitting on a throne with skin of ivory and robes of hammered gold. He sat 12 meters high to inspire awe in worshippers who came to the temple. The statue was so large, if Zeus stood up, he would take off the temple's ceiling. According to legend, the sculptor Phidias asked Zeus for a sign of his approval after finishing the statue. Soon after, the temple was struck by lightning. The monument stood for 8 centuries before falling to ruins when Christian priests asked the emperor to close the temple. The statue was moved to a temple in Constantinople, where it is believed to have been destroyed in a fire around the 4th century CE. The temple of Artemis at Ephesus took over 120 years to build and only one night to destroy. It was completed in 550 BCE. With its final dimensions, the temple was about 129 meters high, almost 69 meters wide, and supported by 127 18-meter high columns. It was sponsored by the wealthy king Croesus of Lydia, who spared no expense according to Herodotus. The temple was so grand that every account of it depicts the same amount of awe and agreement that this is one of the most magnificent structures built by humans. A young man named Herostratus, not to be confused with Herodotus, burned the temple down on July 21st, 356 BC to achieve lasting fame. The outraged Ephesians sentenced Herostratus to death and forbade anyone from mentioning his name, which apparently didn't work out very well. It is said that that very same night, Alexander the Great was supposedly born, and later he offered to rebuild it but was turned down. The temple was restored, destroyed by the Goths, and then restored again. In 401, the temple was finally destroyed by a mob led by the Archbishop of Constantinople. The mausoleum of Hallicarnessus was a tomb built in what is now southeastern Turkey. It was built for Mausolus by Artemisia, his wife and sister, which was a custom back then to keep wealth and power in the family. Mausolleus died in 353 BCE, and Artemisia wished to create a final resting place worthy of such a great king. Artemisia died 2 years after Mausolleus, and her ashes were entombed with his in the mausoleum. The mausoleum was destroyed by a series of earthquakes in the 15th century. The remaining stones were used to build the massive Bodrum castle that now stands where the tomb was. In 1846, a piece of the mausoleum was extracted from the castle and now resides, along with other relics, in London's British Museum. The Colossus of Rhodes was an enormous bronze structure of the god Helios, the patron of Rhodes. It was constructed between 292 through 280 BCE, and it was over 33 meters tall. The story behind its construction goes that Rhodes was under siege by the Macedonians, who eventually lost and left all their siege equipment there. The Rhodians sold the equipment for 300 talents, which is around 360 million US dollars, and used the money to build the statue. It was the last of the 7 wonders to be built, but the first to be destroyed. It stood for 60 years before being toppled by an earthquake. The statue snapped at the knees and fell over onto the land. The Pharaoh of Egypt offered to pay for the reconstruction of the statue, but the Oracle of Delphi made the Rhodians afraid that they had offended Helios, and they declined to rebuild it. It was never rebuilt, and throughout the centuries following its collapse, the metal of the statue was sold and taken far away. This is why there is no specific depiction of what it looks like. The lighthouse of Alexandria was built on the island of Pharos, located near Alexandria between 280 and 247 BCE. Its purpose was to help guide ships in and out of the Nile River's busy harbor. It was constructed from large blocks of light-colored stone, and the lighthouse was made up of 3 stages: a lower square section with a central core, a lower octagonal section, and at the top a circular section. With a height estimated between 100 and 140 meters, it was among the tallest structures on Earth for many centuries. The lighthouse was badly damaged by several earthquakes and disappeared completely in 1480, when the Sultan of Egypt built a fort on the site of the lighthouse using some of the fallen stones. The name of the island that it was built on, Pharos, eventually became the Latin word for lighthouse. And now you understand the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and tell me in the comments if you agree with the list, or what monuments do you think should be included instead. Thank you for watching.